All right, people. So Anthony Joshua has now confirmed that he's no longer being trained by Ben Davison and that going into this Jake Paul fight, he will in fact be trained by Team Oleksandr Usyk. I think the guy's name is Igor, who's going to be the main trainer. Now, this was all kind of revealed last night. Obviously, Anthony Joshua had his face-to-faces press conference with Jake Paul, which it's been weird, right? So Jake Paul did obviously the press conference with Tank Davis, and they did a face-to-face. And the size difference between Jake Paul and Tank Davis was crazy. I mean, it was Jake Paul is like what 6'1", 6'2", and Tank Davis is what 5'5", 5'4". There's probably about a 50, 60 pound weight difference between the two. It was crazy. Switch it now, and the size difference between Joshua and Jake Paul is equally crazy. I look with regards. Look, you know what? I'll give my 2 cents on everything when I read this article for you guys. Right, so. Article I have here is from TalkSport, and it says the following. Anthony Joshua to work with Oleksandr Usyk's team for Jake Paul fight as he confirms split from coach. So this is in the wake of Anthony Joshua basically being out of the ring for so long. We kind of wondered what was going on with him and Ben Davison because we hadn't seen, really, I don't think we'd seen Anthony Joshua with Ben Davison post-Dubois, to be honest with you. So let's have a read of this article here. It says, Anthony Joshua has revealed that he is now working with Oleksandr Usyk's camp for his upcoming fight with Jake Paul. It was announced earlier this week that the two-time former heavyweight champion will clash with Paul on December the 19th in Miami. AJ will make his return to the ring live on Netflix 15 months on from his KO defeat to Daniel Dubois at Wembley Stadium. However, Joshua is preparing for this fight in the company of his rivals team, having previously fought heavyweight legend Usyk on 2 occasions. Speaking in his press conference on Friday, Joshua confirmed that he has made a change with his trainer. He was asked if he will still be trained by Ben Davison and Lee Wiley, and if Davison will be in the corner for this fight. No. I won't be trained by Ben Davison, AJ revealed. I said that London was a bit distracting for me, so I was invited to train with Team Usyk. So, no more Ben Davison. It says here, I've been in Spain, we've been doing some good training, and I think he's one of the best in the world. Not I think he's the best, he is one of the best in the world, Joshua said. It's not all down to him, it's down to his team also that's around him. So I linked up with them, getting an insight into how someone achieves so much and has been phenomenal. It's been a great experience and very challenging. Joshua confirmed he is now working with Team Usyk. He has been working with Team Usyk for a couple of months. However, he said, no, I don't spar with Usyk. He's training somewhere else at the minute. He's been in camp, but he's in and out of camp right now, so he's training somewhere else. Paul was asked his thoughts on Joshua's news and simply said, it's great. I mean, obviously, he's training with the best in the world. He's one of the best heavyweights in the world. We expect nothing less, and I want the best version of Anthony Joshua on December the 19th. It's going to be the best version of Jake Paul that you've seen, and we'll see who's better. It goes on to say about Tank Davis, we don't really need to... that's pretty much it. There's not really anything else to add with regards to training setup. So, let's talk about this. Anthony Joshua leaves Ben Davison to train with Oleksandr Usyk's team. It's another change of trainer. It's been a strange one. So, he was very loyal and trained with Rob McCracken. Obviously, he turned pro with Tony Sims, but that was because McCracken was doing a lot of work with Team GB. I think at the time in the UK, you couldn't train amateur and pro, as in you couldn't train amateurs and pros as a UK trainer. That's obviously changed. And once that changed, he came to be Joshua's head trainer. Now, he did do good work with Anthony Joshua, it's fair to say. But like I've said about Anthony Yard, who's fighting tonight, you can do good work with a trainer, but certain trainers can only bring you so far. And I think that he hit his ceiling with McCracken probably post-Klitschko. That was probably right about the time when he hit his ceiling, and I think he needed to change after that. He didn't. He stayed loyal for an extra couple of years. And since then, what he's been doing is he's been just going into camps. He's been either training with this trainer and going to that trainer, or he's been in this camp. And I don't think that's the right thing to do either, to be honest with you. The best I've seen AJ look throughout his career, the best I've ever seen him look, even in defeat, was in that Usyk rematch. Although he lost it and Usyk was the clear winner, he looked aesthetically very good. He was a lot more confident in his ability in that fight. Even though he was losing and he lost the fight, you saw... It's only when you go back and look at it, you were like, he was confident in there. He looked good. He was trained by Robert Garcia. And I think that maybe was the key. I think that maybe Robert Garcia, Anthony Joshua, that setup might have been the best. Ultimately, then he went to Derek James, which wasn't that bad. Then he went to Ben Davison. Now, AJ Ben Davison, I think on the surface it didn't seem like that bad of a move because Ben Davison's a very good trainer. But he had a fight with Ottavallin. New Ottavallin. Ottavallin's very limited heavyweight. Then he knocks out Francis Ngannou. And Ben Davison, the thing about AJ Ben Davison that I never really liked was the fact that we all want to see AJ Fury. And I think we will see it potentially next year. We all wanted to see that fight. But Ben Davison was a key member of Team Fury. Ben Davison said in an interview years ago, I think it was 2018, 2019, I think he said words to the effect of Anthony Joshua doesn't do a single thing better than Tyson Fury. He was very pro-Fury. He was obviously a trainer of Fury. He was obviously in his camp, and I think he is still friends with Tyson Fury. In fact, he definitely is, I think. So for him to train Anthony Joshua, it was a little bit of a head-scratcher because I was thinking, surely there's a conflict of interest there. There has to be. And the thing about it was, when AJ was with Davison, all he ever really talked about, Ben Davison, was Usyk. It was never about Tyson Fury. It was always, now that I'm training him, he beats Usyk. And whenever anyone would ask him about a potential Fury fight, that's a stupid question. It's not really. It's the biggest fight in British boxing. People want to see it. They've wanted to see it for years. They've been rivals for years. So, answer the question. So I never really understood it. I never really got the sense that Ben Davison would have been 100% loyal to Anthony Joshua. And ultimately, after the Dubois defeat, where he did give AJ some really bad advice, and if you go and listen to, I think it was a BBC Radio 5 or BBC 5, it's a radio broadcast, where Shane McGuigan is doing commentary, and you're able to hear the advice that Ben Davison has given Anthony Joshua, I think in between round 4 and 5, when AJ obviously got stopped. You Shane McGuigan saying, the advice he's given, I'm paraphrasing, but that's not what I'd be saying, and ultimately what happened was Anthony Joshua ended up getting taken out. So the Davison experiment, I think it flattered more so than anything else because you had two fights in a sense of Ottavallin and Ngannou where AJ was always going to look good. And I think obviously once we saw him against Dubois, we saw the holes in that game pretty quick. Him now training with Oleksandr Usyk, I'm relieved to see that he said he's been in there for a couple of months and that this isn't just a spur of the moment, boom, rash decision, I'm going to train with Team Usyk. No, he's been there for a couple of months because I think you need... It's not even so much necessarily the fights. I think you need time to gel with a new trainer, with a new team, with a new setup. And Peter Fury, I forget who it was with. It wasn't with Boxing King Media. I think it was with Boxing News or someone. Peter Fury was interviewed this week, and I think there's talk that Isaac Chamberlain may be going to Peter Fury. And Peter Fury is just... You could listen to Peter Fury all day talk boxing because he's just so knowledgeable. He really is. He's so knowledgeable. And he spoke about people changing teams, changing trainers up, and I think he was talking about Eubank as well, saying that it's all well and good to change trainer. It's all well and good to, have this accomplished trainer like Bomac or whoever. But Peter Fury said it takes roughly a year, not even the fights. The fights are irrelevant. He said it takes roughly a year to actually ingratiate yourself with that trainer, to really be able to... him to understand you and you understand them and to see the benefits. You're not going to see it after one fight. So for AJ to already be in that camp for a couple of months, that's good. At the end of the day, he could have Blind Man Bob training him and he'd still beat Jake Paul. He could have Blind Man Bob saying, do you see what he did there? Well, I'm going to have to tell you what he did because you sure as hell can't see it. So he doesn't need anyone. He could have Eddie Hearn training him. He could have... he could have Thierry Henry train him for all he cares, and he'd still beat Jake Paul. It's irrelevant. But moving forward, having that team that you feel comfy with, he's happy with Team Usyk, it seems. And they are a good team. They've been able to, again, Usyk is very, very talented, but he's got a great training setup. And again, that team have been, quintessential to him doing what he's done. They really have been. They understand them. They know what works. And yeah, I think it is actually a good move for Anthony Joshua moving forward. Again, you won't really see the benefits of it at all in the Jake Paul fight because he should win this fight with one hand tied behind his back, to be honest with you. Give Jake Paul a bat and tie one of AJ's hands behind his back. AJ will still knock Jake Paul out in a round. Seriously, that's just... he's not going to win this fight. Worryingly, very worryingly, I've seen rumours and I've seen people saying that in certain American bookies and stuff like, American odds, there are certain American odds that have Jake Paul. They don't have him as favourite, obviously. They have him as the underdog. But as not a big of an underdog as Andy Ruiz was. Imagine that. That's insanity. That's absolutely insanity. It's just, it obviously shows, one, the disrespect for Anthony Joshua over there, which is incredibly high. I mean, they look at Anthony Joshua as a joke. Far from it. Far from it. But it obviously shows how disconnected they are with like the fact that someone like Andy Ruiz, who on his day is a top heavyweight, can have worse odds than Jake Paul, a YouTuber. It's insanity. It really is. But moving forward after this fight, if AJ stays with Team Usyk, I see that as a good thing. I think that if he is going to fight Tyson Fury next year, my only worry and only concern is that maybe AJ is looking at Team Usyk thinking, well, I want to fight Tyson Fury. We know he does. We know that's the fight he really wants. He'd be up for it. He'd be on it like a car bonnet for that fight, all that good stuff. Maybe he's looking at Team Usyk and thinking, use masterminded the Usyk plan on how to beat him. Do it for me too. And I'd be saying, well, hang on a minute. They engineered a plan and masterminded a plan for a 6'3", 220-pound man. You're 6'5", 6'6", 250 plus pounds. It's a bit different. It's a bit different. But I'm sure, look, they understand the game. They know what they're dealing with. They would know Tyson Fury's weaknesses, and they'd be able to tell AJ, even though you're not 6'3", 220 pounds, you're much bigger, these are his weaknesses. You can still exploit them. And I think that it is a good move. It's going to be interesting to see AJ. Again, the Jake Paul fight won't really tell us anything. But moving forward, yeah, we'll see something, hopefully in the new year. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and everything I talked about here. Let me know. Be interesting to know. Do you think this is a good move? AJ Bin and Ben Davison. Some people would say at long last. Some people would say he never should have left Robert Garcia. I tend to agree with them, looking back in retrospect. Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed it, people. As always, if you could, smash the like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff.